Okay, so I'm going to show you how I connected a smart turn system to a Kawasaki Concours. There's some information about this in the forums. Some of it's a little confusing still, and I think it's always helpful if you can actually see where somebody else actually put this stuff together at. So this is how I did mine. The first thing to note is the instructions in the smart turn system are actually incorrect. If you look at their guide here, on the column for Kawasaki, they're talking about a gray, orange, green on the going to the motorcycle side, and again a gray, orange, green on the turn signal switch. In fact, the orange line that you need to tap into is a red and green on the switch side that's going to, or the cable side that's going to the switch. So that's this section here going around and back up to the switch housing. And then above the boot here is the side going to the motorcycle. So on the connectors from the STS that are going to the motorcycle, which are the blue, yellow, and green, you're going to connect those to green, yellow to gray, and then blue goes to red-green on this side. On the other side of the switch, it's actually still orange, which is correct for what the instruction guide says. But it's just easier, I think, to connect to this side of the switch, or the connector here, than it is to connect up here under this boot. So you're looking for the red and green connection that will connect to the blue line on the side of the STS that goes to the motorcycle. On the side that goes to the switch up here, you're going to, again, of course you're cutting into there, you've got the gray, green, and red, green that are connecting to the white, brown, and purple up here. For power, Mama Cow helped us out, right? So there's these two feeds. There's a neutral and a hot 12-volt plus that are coming out under this boot and just dangling there. All you got to do, I spliced on additional bullet connectors so I could just plug straight into them. You could just cut off those bullet connectors and use the supplied connectors with the STS and splice on your red and black line. As for the unit itself, I actually just mounted it right here. And of course you got to make sure that it's nice and stable. So you can see this one bar right down here that's kind of the fairing stay and bolts onto the side over here. So I rested it on top. I used really strong two-sided tape on the left side of the STS and just stuck it to the side of the fairing. Or the side of the bracket rather. It's not actually on the fairing. That's a bracket that links over to the fairing. And then I used a cable tie just right across the top underneath this bar down here, and just tightened it down really tight. And that guy is not going anywhere. It's got the logo facing up. It's got the arrow facing forward. It's pretty flat, even though the bar itself is not a. It's got an angle to it. But once you kind of position that all in there and tie it down and tape it in, and I think that's going to work just fine. As far as the switch itself, you know, it was really easy. I've already taken it apart and done it, but I'll just walk you through. There's just two screws on the back here, one screw down on the bottom that has a little bit of a cable guide on it, on the bottom of it, a little bracket. You take those two screws off, the whole housing just kind of falls open, and you flip it upside down, and you'll see the two slots, which are pretty clearly marked in the instruction manual for the STS. I did cut down, I tried the smaller foam pieces in this to begin with, and it actually still was a little difficult to get the right and left signal indicator to function. You had to really press them hard. And so, like other people in the forum have commented, if you take the larger connectors, or I'm sorry, the larger foam pieces, and actually cut them down with a really sharp X-Acto knife to be slightly thinner than the thin foam pieces that already came with the kit, then they work much better. And so at this stage, I can power it up. I get the extra flash here, and so now I can indicate left with very little force. You hit left again to turn it off. Now that the STS is installed, right's the same way, and right cancels.